Well, I think this quote was true when Robert Capa said it 80 years ago. But is it still true today? Up to a certain degree, yes. When you want to catch emotions and character, a good way is to get a bit closer. But what if you are not Bruce Gilden, in other words, a bit shy? What if you are afraid of taking photos of a certain person, maybe for a good reason because you are currently in a crime-ridden area? What if the photography laws in your country are very strict? What if you generally don't know culture or language? And if you just want to do fine art, minimal street photography, what to do then? Well, we are living in a complicated world. When I go out doing street photography, I don't want to make the life of others even more complicated by coming too close. You never know who already had a really bad day out there and maybe doesn't want to interact with creepy photographers who just learned that the coolest way to make street photography is to shoot until the subject reacts. I think this kind of behavior creates a very bad image of street photography in the broader public. I am not talking about photographers who manage it to get close without the subject noticing it. I'm talking about being overly aggressive because you've been told that's what street photographers do. And yes, street photography here on YouTube, so myself as well, is the problem. Because photographers, when being filmed, act somehow more aggressive and pushy. And then you on the other side of the screen think, well, that's the way it works. I don't want to tell you what's right or wrong, but I think there has to be a better way. Let me tell you 5 ways how to get nearly invisible when photographing strangers. In photography, it's all about light. So when you see during one of your walks with your camera a spot with a marvelous light, just position your camera and wait to let somebody walk through your frame. But I think you already know the problem. Most people are simply too nice. When they see you, they'll stop and wait. Maybe you manage to say, "Oh, I've been waiting for a cool silhouette just like yours." But most of the time you will just say, "Thank you," without taking a photo and wait another few minutes for the next person. So what about getting a bit invisible? And who is generally in some sense invisible? Exactly, people staring at their phone. So take your phone, scroll a bit and take the photos with the other hand. This is one of the most inconspicuous ways to take a photo. You will see nobody will stop and even the cliché guy with a hat and a cigar will finally walk through your frame. Or in these days, most probably with a vapor, but we can work with that, right? By the way, if you want to work on your street photography skills, be sure to subscribe to this channel. You don't need to get very close to get a good photo. Often it's better to get a certain distance to enhance the composition. If the person is not recognizable and only beautiful silhouette, that's even better. And not for privacy or the more Instagrammable outcomes, but generally speaking, in my opinion, the viewer can relate more to this tiny person walking in a distance than we can see in an actual portrait. When it comes to close-up portraits, a woman in her 30s has it harder to relate to an image of an 80-year-old man and vice versa. But a silhouette, that can be nearly everybody. Gender and age are gone instantly. I think that's also the reason these kinds of photos are so popular for a long time. You can recognize yourself in it. Just keep your distance on the other side of the street and wait for somebody to walk through the light. And you have a portrait of a lonely person in a big city, what we all are sometimes. Do you know these kinds of places where so much is going on all day long? This could be a cafe, a bench in a lively park or on a busy square. These kinds of spots are far too good to just pass them with your camera. Make yourself cozy and comfortable with your camera, have a drink, read a newspaper, and then from time to time take a photo if you see something interesting. No matter if you're shooting with a wide-angle lens, cropping is no crime. If somebody asks you what you are doing, tell them. You will see you won't be seen as a creepy photographer trying to snitch a few shots, but by becoming part of the scene as the friendly, interested artist who you are. After spending 1 or 2 hours at such a place, you most probably had a good time and some decent shots. If you see reflections in shopping windows on cars or public transport, like in subways, you should definitely make use of it. Just compose your image and wait. On one hand, nobody has a clue that you are waiting for the reflection of an interesting subject pointing into a window with your camera. And on the other hand, you can practice small, elaborate compositions like that by combining two completely different scenes, like here. Be sure to place your subject in front of a bright part of the image, otherwise if the person walks in a shade, the silhouette will be barely visible. If you want to get more into reflection and indirect photography, I'd recommend you to check out the fantastic evergreen work of Ernst Haas. Who said that street photography needs to always have a human figure in it? Sometimes hands or just a head or feet showing up behind a wall is far more interesting than the whole person. Or a cat staring out of a window, or a dove in beautiful light, or a dog. Most people will be flattered when you find their dog cute and want to take a photo of them. Look for people entering buildings, standing outside shops or restaurants, or sitting in cars and smoking where you only can see the hand. You only see a part of them and they can't see you at all. And now remove the hand and just frame the cigarette on the floor, a beer can on a bench, or other signs of human existence. If you are composing well, you have endless opportunities for beautiful street photos everywhere without the need to wait for a human character. Hope that helps. Please also watch my video about becoming invisible in street photography. See you there.